Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gentreo's webinar on estate planning in an economic turndown, how to get your affairs in order. I'm attorney Mary Kate D'Souza, and I'm here to help you understand the implication, a great shutdown, and how that impacts your estate planning. This is a very unique time in history. None of us have ever experienced something like this COVID pandemic, and we hope once it's over with, we'll never have to experience it again. Because of the challenges created by this COVID pandemic, it's very difficult to get the assistance that we all may need from the courts. Additionally, because of the COVID pandemic, it's all the more reason why you have to have your estate planning in order. There are critical documents that every capable adult American should have, namely a power of attorney and a healthcare proxy. Those two documents, at a minimum, give you an opportunity to appoint someone you would want to make decisions for you in the event of a healthcare emergency. I think what we've all learned during these past few months is that your life can change in an instant, and it's very important to be prepared. So what are the critical estate planning documents that you would need to protect yourself and that you'd also want your loved ones to have? These documents are a financial power of attorney, a healthcare proxy, otherwise known as a power of attorney for healthcare. Gentreo's healthcare proxy offers not only the opportunity to appoint someone, but also adds additional components similar to advanced directives. So it's like a living will. That's also an important document for you to have. Another document is your will. Your will is a document which allows you to appoint someone to take care of your minor children. Further, it gives you an opportunity to say where your assets go. And finally, allows you an opportunity to nominate someone to manage your estate. Another document, if you're a pet owner, is a power of attorney for pet care. This is a document that, again, allows you to nominate someone to make decisions for you on behalf of your pet if you're not able to. Another document that you may need to manage your property is a trust. And we'll talk in more specific detail later about what a trust is. So in terms of estate planning, you have your legal document component, but additionally, you have to have that information ready and available for those that you want to make your decisions. So estate planning encompasses not only creating your legal documents, but filing them and storing them in a manner in which you can readily and easily share them with those that you want to help you. Gentreo offers a Gentreo family vault. So this is a digital vault that allows you to store all your estate planning documents, and it also allows you to store other important documents to make it very easy for you to get all the information to the people that you trust and love and will be able to help you. So examples of things that you could also store in your Gentreo digital vault are information about your 401ks, your bank accounts, your real estate, your insurance, your health information, your pets information. All that, if it's organized and put in the easy to follow format that's created by the Gentreo family vault, and you share it with select loved ones, it gives you an opportunity to share that information very easily. So right now, as we talked about with COVID, it's very challenging to get emergency orders. Now, absent COVID, it's challenging to get emergency orders. First of all, you're dealing with an emergency. So right away, things aren't organized, things aren't prepared. You have to find someone to assist you, to prepare the documents you need, to file at court. There are attorney's fees possibly, if not, there are definitely court fees. Plus, there's your all-important time that you could be spending with your loved ones, and instead you're at court trying to get permission to help your loved ones. This is very difficult and burdensome, emotionally burdensome on your loved ones. Now during COVID, it's that much more difficult. Here in Massachusetts, all courts are closed to the public through July 1st now, due to COVID emergency. They're accessible via telephone or email, but not to appear. So of course, that's another hoop that we have to get through to get emergency orders, which makes it very challenging. In addition to this, it's very important during this time of COVID that not only are you prepared for yourself, you also want to make sure that those you hold near and dear are prepared. Some of us live in different parts of the United States. So some are on the East Coast, some are on the West Coast, some are in the Midwest. With our family members all scattered, it's more critical than ever that everyone have their documents in order. So if an emergency does arise, it would be very easy to communicate that information. Again, that's the assistance that Gentreo offers. I think a lot of us consider doing estate planning and know that we need to do it, but we put it on the back burner. Now with the COVID, it's an opportunity to move this to the top of our priorities, because it is crucial that it gets done, especially in this pandemic when your health could change very quickly. In addition to the health consequences of COVID, as we've all experienced, there's incredible economic pressure. Many of us have loved ones that have lost their jobs or have been furloughed. Many of us aren't able to work to our full-time salary that we were working before. All of this has created grave stress on our economy and our individual circumstances. This great shutdown not only has put pressure on our healthcare system, it's put pressure on our economic system. And more importantly, it's put pressure on us individually and as family members. So what can we do during this time to plan and prepare? I would urge you to get your estate planning documents in order. And some of you might be thinking as you're listening to this webinar, estate planning, I have to feed my family. I have to pay my rent. I can't afford estate planning. Or you may be thinking, I don't have an estate. I don't need this. And I would say to you that you're wrong on both counts. And let me explain why. First off, those that consider themselves to not need an estate plan overlook themselves personally. An estate plan doesn't just encompass your assets, it encompasses you. It is planning that you need to do to protect your individual health and financial decisions in the event that you're incapacitated. Further, in terms of the cost, gratefully, Gentreo has created an online estate planning software that is easy and affordable for all to use. So even during this time of great economic stress, you'd be able to afford the price point, which is $129. Moreover, as a thank you to all those who are essential employees who are on the front lines during this terrible COVID crisis, Gentreo has discounted their rate $100 in order to afford you an even more reasonable price point to get all the estate planning documents you need and the storage to share it with those you love. So let's dive deep into the crucial estate planning documents that you need. Let's start with the healthcare proxy. A healthcare proxy, also known as a power of attorney for healthcare or a healthcare surrogate, is a document in which you nominate someone you want to make medical decisions for you in the eventuality that you couldn't due to incapacity or an inability to communicate your decisions. During this time of COVID, I think we're all aware of that. Some people are being put on respirators and can't communicate and say what they want. This would be an example of why you want a healthcare proxy. If you do not have a healthcare proxy, Your loved ones are forced to petition the court to get someone appointed as guardian for you to make these decisions. A guardian is in a lot of ways very similar to a healthcare proxy. The difference is, instead of you being proactive and choosing who you want, your loved ones are forced to get the court involved. And if there's conflict among your loved ones, the court will, in all likelihood, appoint a stranger to you, a neutral third person, to make these important healthcare decisions. No one wants that. That's why it's important that you create your healthcare proxy. In addition to being able to nominate who you want to make these decisions for you, you can outline what your decisions are. A Gentreo healthcare proxy enables you to choose what kind of life-sustaining treatment you would want in what particular circumstances. It also gives you an option to indicate if you want a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate order, or if you want to donate your organs. A Gentreo healthcare proxy also incorporates a HIPAA release. So this one document really addresses all circumstances that you may encounter and need in the event of a healthcare crisis, and you're covered by having this document. Finally, this document also enables you to write specific choices that you would make under specific circumstances. It gives you an opportunity to freely express what you would want in your care. And that's why it's important when you choose someone to be your healthcare proxy, that it's someone that knows you, you trust, and that this person understands what your wishes are and will be able to uphold them. A power of attorney is similar to a healthcare proxy, but instead of dealing with healthcare choices, a power of attorney addresses all financial matters, including real estate, bank accounts, 401ks, even estate planning if you so choose. What you do with a power of attorney is that you nominate someone to serve as your agent or your attorney in fact to make certain financial decisions. You're able to decide what kind of financial decisions you want this agent to make, and you're also able to express how long you want this document to be in effect for. Some may choose to limit it to only real estate and for a short period of time because they're traveling out of the country, and well, not now during COVID, but at other times, traveling and therefore unavailable to say close on a piece of property. So that instead they'd have an agent sign the necessary paperwork, but it would only be for that one purpose of buying or selling a property and for a specific period of time. In other circumstances, particularly as we age, we may want to give someone general authority, which encompasses everything, and make it durable so it lasts. It doesn't expire under a circumstance in which you're incapacitated or somehow not able to communicate decisions. This document would empower your agent to therefore seamlessly manage all your bills, your finances, your accounts, everything. So basically, even though you were incapacitated, your finances and your assets and your bills, everything would be managed properly under the authority of the person that you chose. Now, for both the healthcare proxy and the power of attorney, it's not just that you name one person to serve in that position. You have an opportunity to name alternates and even a second alternate. So in other words, you have an opportunity to name your first choice, your second choice, and your third choice. Again, during this COVID time, we have all learned that sadly we can lose someone very quickly to this virus or due to another circumstance. So the whole purpose of doing these documents is to prepare, which is all the more reason why you want to have a plan, a backup plan, and an emergency backup plan, your 3 levels. Your last will and testament. I think most of us are familiar with this document through either movies or TV or whatever. But let's break it down. A last will and testament is an opportunity for you to express who you want to receive all your assets. Everything that you've worked so hard for over your life, who do you want to give all those things to? From your jewelry to your bank accounts, etc. Now remember, the only things that go through the probate process, which is what is the legal definition of what happens when a will is brought to the court, are those items that you own individually. Some items you may have funded, but you've created a beneficiary for, like a 401k or maybe an IRA, a life insurance policy. All those assets do not get probated, and they aren't considered part of your will. The statements that you create, your beneficial statements saying who you want to get it, they would override anything that you had written in a will in terms of how you want your assets distributed. Additionally, if you're a parent of a minor child, a very critical component of a will is you have an opportunity to nominate who you would want to serve as guardian of your minor child. This is very important. Most of us want to make sure that our children are taken care of, and that we want to make sure that our choices of who we would want to raise our children, if God forbid the worst happened, are upheld and honored. And the only way the court can know that is if it is expressed in your will. Finally, a will gives you an opportunity to nominate someone you choose to manage your estate. Again, similar to the power of attorney, you want to pick someone that you trust, that you know, that has the skill set to navigate both the court system and to gather all your assets and distribute them as you would wish. A pet power of attorney. A pet power of attorney is a document in which, similar to the financial power of attorney, which deals with finances, the pet power of attorney deals with the care of your pets. A Gentreo power of attorney for pet care enables you to decide if you want to make it durable or limited. Durable would mean it would last for your lifetime. Limited means for a select period of time. Most people choose limited when they're going on vacations or they know they're going to be absent for a significant period of time. Durable is for life, essentially. And you could have both a durable and a limited going at the same time if you want. Additionally, besides choosing who you want to serve as your pet care agent, you also have an opportunity to express what kind of care you want your pet to have. Now, this is an important consideration, especially in the case of you're going to be absent due to vacation or travel or something else, and you're leaving your pet in the care of a pet sitter, who more than likely is a neighbor or a loved one or a friend. These people, as much as they're close to you and care for you and care for your animals, have probably no understanding of what your financial circumstances are. So it's important within the pet power of attorney that you express how much you can afford to take care of your pets. And of course, a lot of this may depend upon the age and health of the pet. All of this is very personal, and you have an opportunity to fill it out according to your wishes and your needs. Additionally, a pet power of attorney enables you to choose who you would want to care for your pet long term if something happened to you and you were not able to care for your pet. Again, this document helps to protect you, your veterinarian, your pet sitter, and most of all, your pet. Another document that you may consider is a living trust. A living trust is a way to manage your estate that would include, during your lifetime, you would create a living trust and you would transfer into the trust all your personal assets. In order for the trustee to manage them, and in order for it to be distributed upon your death to your beneficiaries as are outlined in your living trust. Now, in this circumstance, you might be thinking, well, why do I need a living trust? Why can't I just rely on a will? In fact, you can. Reasons why you may want to choose to get a living trust, create one and fund one, is because in your state, the probate process is expensive or maybe takes a long time. Additionally, there may be tax consequences in your state that make sense for you to transfer assets into a living trust rather than having them go through the probate process. The overwhelming purpose of a trust would be for privacy. When you create a will and it needs to be probated, that goes to the court and it becomes part of the public record. Some people value their privacy the most and would rather create a living trust because for the most part, living trusts are not public. The only time they become part of a court record is if there's a lawsuit or litigation involving the living trust. So the consequences of not having an estate planning done. It's causing more burden on your loved ones. They're going to be forced to get the court involved. There may be conflict. Undoubtedly, it'll be more expensive than if you prepared and did it on your own. One of the things that we may not realize is that if you do not have a will, your state has created one for you. They've created, through the laws of intestacy of that state, a distribution of how all your assets would be distributed upon your death. So something you might want to consider is, say you have a brother and a sister. You love your brother, you're very, very close to him and in constant contact, but your sister, for whatever reason, you've had a falling out and you haven't spoken to in 20 years. If you die and you're not married and you don't have children, your heirs are your brother and your sister. So your dear brother, who you're close to, is now only a 50% beneficiary of your estate, and your sister, who you haven't had any contact with in 20 years, gets the other 50%. Most of us would not want that outcome. Most of us want to be in control as to who receives our assets. So that's why it's important to recognize that in the absence of making a decision for yourself, other people or the laws of the state are going to take control and make the decisions for you. And they may not be, in fact, in all likelihood, will not be the desire that you want. We touched on this at the beginning of the webinar. Not only is it important to have legal documents, it's very important that these documents are able to be shared and are easily accessible. Why is this so critical? I cannot tell you the number of cases I've had in court where I've litigated and gone before a judge begging for relief with a party who's telling me that his spouse created her healthcare proxy, but he can't find it. He knows she didn't want life-sustaining treatment, but we have no evidence of it because he couldn't locate the living will. So instead of being with his beloved spouse, his wife, in the hospital when she's near death, instead he's in court with me trying to get a judge who knows nothing about their circumstances to make a decision favorable to him and his wife. This is awful. No one wants this for their loved one. This is why it's very important that not only the documents are created, but they are put in a place that can be easily accessible to your agents and those that you love. Gentreo offers the Family Vault for exactly that purpose. You can share your estate planning documents, and you can share other important documents that would enable those you love and trust to help you and your loved ones in an emergency situation. Thank you very much for joining me for this webinar on the Great Shutdown and COVID and what we can do to prepare our state.